Well, hello again, my friends, and welcome to the Invisible College. Now, today is going to be a rather different video from usual. It's going to be quite a short one, at least I think it will be, and it's really intended as a supplementary to the documentaries, the Signs in the Sky documentary, which I uploaded originally some years ago now, split in two parts, but I've re-edited it and put it back together as a single documentary. And this documentary is very important if you want to understand why I've come into studying the Book of Revelation the way I have done and the way that I approach it. And to be honest with you, I still find this very remarkable that when you go into it in this particular way, looking at star positions at certain times, recent star positions I should say, you begin to understand that God must be behind all of this. And it's not just what I'm going to show you today. The whole life of Jesus Christ, the mission of him, the baptism, the crucifixion, the resurrection, the ascension, all fit in with certain star patterns. And once you understand the dates that those events actually took place, and I've done a lot of work on that. In fact, I wrote a book called Magi, which goes into that in some detail. And I'm going to do a number of videos on that subject, which will be put up on the new Invisible College, and you'll have to be a member to be able to see those videos. But don't freak out, it doesn't cost you anything to join, but it's very important that you do join if you are interested in this material, for the simple reason that I don't know how long I'll be allowed to carry on YouTube. I mean, they're quite irrational sometimes, the way they just throw people off their platform. I'm not doing politics, so I guess that's, they're not going to do me for that. But they might not like my approach to religion or my approach to astrology or something. Someone might get bugged by it and they might suddenly decide, oh, we're going to throw him off. And then, if I don't know who you are, where you are, how to contact you, we've lost touch completely. If you join the college as an associate member, it costs you nothing, but it enables us to put you on a mailing list. And that does two things. One is it means that if that happens, we can contact you and say, hey, we've moved to such and such. But also it means that if I'm doing newsletters, and I intend to do that, perhaps setting up a live conference somewhere or something, you can be contacted. Now, I don't need to know your real name if that's something that you don't want us to know. All we need to know is an email address that we can reach you at. That's not too difficult, is it, really? I mean, I've joined a lot of things, put my name on mailing lists with my email address. It's not a big deal. It's not an invasion in your privacy. And you will get access to material that is not going to be on here. And in fact, some of this material that is on here now won't stay there. So I do suggest that you think about this and come and join us on the Proton Mail website. And I'm going to put the address underneath here so you'll be able to find it easily. Now then, this is a short intro to the Signs in the Sky documentary, which I'm also re-uploading roughly the same time as this. So you'll find your understanding of what goes on in that documentary much easier if you've already seen this. Or if you've already watched the documentary and you thought, oh, I don't understand any of that, come to this. Now, this is only an introduction. The subject itself is enormous and it's very detailed. And I will be covering that in later lectures. But for now, we can just get on with doing this one, and I hope you'll find it helpful. So, a short intro to Signs in the Sky documentary. Now, you've all seen the pyramids, pictures of them. This one you're looking at here is actually not the Great Pyramid. It's the middle pyramid of the three. It's called the Pyramid of Khafre. And he was allegedly Khufu, the son of Khufu, who built the Great Pyramid, allegedly. I say allegedly because, not everyone agrees with that. But this is a very interesting pyramid in its own right, and I'm going to show you why. Now, first of all, it's based on the geometry of Pythagoras' theorem. You probably did that when you were at school, that the square on the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares on the other two sides. And you can see that I've drawn a triangular cross-section of the pyramid, and your hypotenuse has a side of 5 units compared with a half base of 3 and a height of 4. And of course 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, 9 plus 16 is 25, and 5 squared is also 25. So we have actually got there the living proof of Pythagoras' theorem. But it doesn't stop there. Now, something very curious happened at the time of the summer solstice in the year 2000, that the sun, at the time of the solstice, as it crossed the east-west, or it's not called a meridian, I think it's called a great circle, would be at exactly the right height to shine down the opposing side, which meant that the pyramid would not cast a shadow at that time. So you have one of these alignments in the morning and another one in the afternoon, and I've shown those with 2 figures of Orion with the sun over his upstretched hand. And that upstretched hand position marks what's called the Stargate. And that's because that is the position where the ecliptic, that's the line that the sun travels around the zodiac, going 1 degree each day of the year, crosses over the median plane of the Milky Way. We could think of that as being the Milky Way is a sort of flat dish, and it has a sort of equator, you could call it that. So where those two things cross, those two lines, was understood in the ancient world as being Stargate or gateway. And curiously enough, that was also understood in Mexico by the Mayan Indians. So this is all very weird. But this position here, over the hand of Orion, at the summer solstice, casts no shadow as it crosses over. And that's also very important because the summer solstice position is when the sun in the northern hemisphere is at its highest position. And it means that that gate, what they call a gate, was at its highest position in the sky, and then it was going to go down. And that happened in the year 2000. And here you can see more clearly, I've shown here the Orion figure holding up his club or hand, you can see it there, towards that little X, which is put over the top of where the sun is. And the altitude of the sun there is 53.2 degrees as it does that. And if you go back here, you see the slope of the pyramid, you see those base angles, is 53 degrees 10 minutes, which is roughly the same. So that means that the sun will actually shine down the side of the pyramid just as it crosses over. Now, I worked this all out on a computer some time back, about 1998, I think, and I decided that I needed to go and see this actually for myself in the year 2000. And rather than just go on my own, I organised a little tour group. So we would actually go and see this event. And another event I'll come to in Jerusalem a week later. So we wanted to see this event and see if it was actually true. So I'm going to take you back to the slides here. And there you can see it. the sun sitting on top of the pyramid, shining down. And this is the first half of this little documentary. Well, it's not that little, it's about an hour long, that was recorded by my friend Nicky Carter and broadcast originally on South African TV. And we had a tremendous experience going to the Khafre Pyramid and witnessing this. It's probably the first time in 4,500 years that anyone has actually consciously witnessed that the sun does this on the summer solstice. So that was the first part of it. And the second part, which was in Jerusalem, concerned what I call the opening of the Stargate with the Alpha and the Omega. Now you can see here this picture I commissioned actually. It was painted by my late friend Bengt Alfredson, and it shows this kind of Christ figure, the first and the last, and he's standing amidst the 7 candlesticks. This is how it's described at the start of the book of Revelation. And you've got the figure of St. John seeing this vision, and he's going to record it in his book as he's been told. And here you see there's a door open, and the Orion, the figure of this Christ figure is an Orion figure, and he's holding out his hand to the Orion constellation there, and you can see these little birds with the planets, and that's because it is actually a representation of this configuration, which happened on the 29th of June in 2000, when we actually had Orion, and we had the 7 planets, or which are represented as candles, 3 on one side and 4 on the other. So we had the Moon, Jupiter and Saturn on one side, and then we had the Sun, Mars, Mercury and Venus on the other side of Orion. So Orion is actually standing amidst the 7 lights or candlesticks, and he's holding his hand up towards the Stargate, and as that is crossing the meridian. So I felt we should go and see what was happening in Jerusalem to do with this. And so that is the second part of the documentary. So I'm not going to go into it any further here. I am going to do other lectures explaining this in more detail, but that will be done on the Invisible College website. And you'll be able to go and see those. But for now, I think this is enough. I just wanted to give you a brief introduction. And if you'll now go, and I'll put the address underneath here, to have a look at the video of the documentary itself, you'll see all these events exactly as they happened in the year 2000, which was the start of the book of Revelation. And I think you'll agree with me that since 2000, the world's not been the same. I mean, within 2 months of our standing at the foot of the Mount of Olives, looking up, watching these stars, the Intifada had broken out between the Jews and the Arabs over the Temple Mount, and guns were being fired in those positions. And then a year later, we had the Twin Towers, and we had the start of the Afghanistan war, and then the Iraq war. That's led on to the explosion in Libya, and all of the troubles that we're seeing throughout the Middle East, the massive migration of people from the Middle East and Africa into Europe, the chaos that's happening in America now. All of this is part of, I believe, the apocalypse, the tribulation. So we are right in the thick of it now, and I'm absolutely convinced that we have to go through this, and I'm convinced that Jesus Christ is coming back very soon. So I'm offering this to you, and I hope you enjoy it, and we'll meet again. But don't forget to come and join the college, and if you haven't already subscribed to this channel on YouTube, because I will still put things here, please do so, and hit the little bell. Everyone tells you this, don't they? Because it really does help. The more members we have here who have subscribed to the channel, the more YouTube will share the channel to other people. And I want millions of people to see these videos because it's terribly important. you know. I'm sort of the town crier, and I'm announcing the news. You know, I don't rate myself hugely high. I'm not some great guru figure. I am the messenger sent to tell you about this, and it needs to be spread wide on the internet. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to speaking to you again. Thank you.